to your transition into death. You feel your eyes begin to get heavy. You fall deeper and deeper into a trance. Your body becomes weightless as your heart begins to slow down. Do not be afraid. You are at rest. You fall deeper and deeper. Your soul begins to separate from your body. You begin to feel the warmth of fire. This is the arrival to your final destination. Welcome to eternal damnation. You are now entering hell.
I like that little intro that he did there with The Shining hotel episode. I kind of like that because I've always thought that like the Hyatt has this kind of like Shining feel personally, but we'll get into that. Hello, everyone in the chat. Yes, hello, everyone.
How you doing? Hey,
yeah, I got no fucking idea what day it is because it's October, and that means it's Halloween, like literally all month long. And it was funny. I actually saw someone from Spooky, actually, Jackie Sonnenberg, who had said there is not enough October in October.
That's why we're celebrating at the end of July, or after July 4th.
And there's still not enough.
Yeah, July 5th we start celebrating, and it just doesn't feel like we have enough time to do all the things.
Absolutely. But so we're gonna probably be a little bit disjointed tonight because mystery drink, whatever.
Cheese.
Yeah, cheese, sure. But it's been crazy because Spookology went on this weekend, and all of us are like seriously hunkering down and panicking, starting to pack for Spooky. And yes, it takes more than 2 weeks to pack for Spooky. If you've been there, then you know. But Rob, hi, Rob, how you doing? What are you drinking? All that good shit.
Well, all right, everybody, get ready to be impressed as shit.
Oh no.
I am drinking coffee that I made with peanut butter cream liqueur, and then I put some whipped cream in it and a little bit more coffee. So this is some fancy shit right here. Not gonna lie. And I put it in a glass mug just so you could look at it.
So coffee in a glass mug at 8:00 at night. So you're gonna be up till 4.
Yeah. Caffeine doesn't really do that to me anymore, I'm afraid. I wish it did. I'll be good for about 2 hours, and then around 10 o'clock, I'm just going to be talking to her, and then I'll fall right asleep mid-sentence.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
How romantic.
We're all about the romance here. Absolutely. So, Rob, are you watching anything interesting?
Well, first, let me just say hello once again to the Oh Brother podcast. Yes. Gentlemen, hello. Bones, your body of work is always appreciated. Jennifer, hello, and Cheryl, hello.
Nicely done.
I can't believe. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not watching a goddamn thing, but I did go see The Exorcist this week for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, we're old. That's how old we are.
Yeah. So for the 50th anniversary, The Exorcist was back in theaters for a week. And that was fun. It was fun to watch because we weren't, when some of these movies get re-releases, you'll be like the only person in the theater. It's like you think people want to see them. No, not really. But Exorcist was a different story. Right time of year on top of that. And Yeah, it was really good. It was always been good, still good now, and it was just fun listening to people's reaction, like you could tell in the theater, who had not seen it before. And it was funny just kind of hearing them go.
Yeah, that was really awesome, and it's nice that the movie still holds up to this day.
Yeah. We did that with Christine. They released Christine in the theaters for a couple nights, and
I love that they're doing that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because these are classic movies that we grew up with, and to see them on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then they're all cleaned up, and so it's nice and neat. You're not seeing an oldie, moldy 35 millimeter print that's been spliced together 25 times for yesterday. So it's nice to see them all cleaned up and on the screen again. And you actually, there were like scenes that I've forgotten, and things at the ends on either side that you don't see or whatever from a bad VHS copy. So it's nice.
And it's funny you say that, because like I think I've only seen The Exorcist about 3 times over the years. And even the first time I saw it wasn't until like probably the 25th anniversary release.
Yeah.
I think that came out while I was in college, and everyone was all excited. Oh, there's a crab walk scene. There's a crab walk scene.
Which still creeps the fuck out of me.
Yeah, and now it's very much everyone expects the crabs. So
well, it's interesting because I mean the movie absolutely holds up, but it's interesting because a lot of people always say because modern technology and CGI and all that has kind of watered everything else down, and it's like, you know what? This is where practical effects really take home the crown, because the scenes with Reagan still fucking hold up to this day.
Yeah.
They still hold up, and everyone's like, oh, well, it's not as offensive. Oh, yes, the fuck it is. I'm sorry. The cross, and that's all I'm going to say. That's still shocking as fuck. So
real quick, I am going to spoil one thing real quick, because it is funny. It's like, I've like I said, I've watched it a couple times. I've studied it a lot. I've read,
I don't think you can spoil The Exorcist.
Yeah, I mean, it's after 50 years, I can put in a spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Fair point. Something I never caught before, and I even had to have someone explain it to me after the fact. In the middle of the movie, they see that the church has been desecrated. People have, statue of Mary, another statue.
They do it and then don't even explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, they reference it one more time when the detective is talking to Father Karras. But then that's kind of it. And what I did not realize was Reagan was the one that painted the statues, possessed Reagan, because it's early in the movie. They show her, she's painting some little clay figures that she made with her mom.
Oh.
And then, they finally, and they reference one of the statues, much later when Father Karras, or the mother, is washing his clothes after she, green pea souped him. And they showed the statue again. That they never touch on it again, but like it put a different implication in the movie that Reagan has been leaving the house.
That's really interesting,
and it just makes you like, well, shit, yeah. What else was going on?
Yeah, it's like that with The Shining too. It's because there's so much in the book that's kind of like just touched on in the movie, but not really explained it. We forget about it. The furry thing. Let's be honest. The Exorcist, same thing. It was a best-selling book before, so that's all anyone ever thinks of, and that's something we'll get into. One of the things I want to talk about in the chat, I mean, hello everyone in the chat. Oh Brother Podcast is going to be there as first timers. So
woohoo!
Yeah, they're actually going to be doing their podcast all weekend, which is fucking awesome. So they're going to become converts, as we all know. But no, it's just the fact that we got first timers that are actually going to be like broadcasting. It's spooky. That's fucking awesome, dude. Love
and
that
what
shit.
A year to do it. It's the perfect time.
It really is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to bring up Jennifer Kirchmeyer was talking about House of a Thousand Corpses on Wednesday, which is what I'm doing as well. Basically, I keep thinking it's Fat Home Vents, but no, it's Fathom Events, fathomevents.com. That's all I saw was Fat Home.
That's right. I was going to say it's Fandango, but it's Fathom Events. That's right.
Yeah, fathomevents.com. They're releasing a number of them, especially during October. And it's nice to, like we said, we see some of these great. House of a Thousand Corpses was just personally my favorite Rob Zombie movie. And I saw that in the theater when it came out. So to be able to see it again in a nearly empty theater, probably, it's going to make my fucking life. One of the things that's interesting, and that before we get to Harriet, this is kind of like a segue lead in. October, a lot of us do these horror movie challenges. I've done them probably about 20 years now as well. And, everyone does in some form or another, whether it's rewatching classics or stuff you haven't seen before or doing stuff for a challenge in a group. We're all doing it. And so it's nice, especially because it's the beginning of October, especially you guys in the chat. I'm really curious as to what you guys are watching for your challenges or what you're watching on your 30 Days of Horror or whatever it is. I mean, Harriet, what about you?
Well, yeah, I do one every year. It's the Halloween horror movie Marathon Madness. That's our thing. It's a separate page, and the girl who does it, her name is Elizabeth Catherine Gray. She's a friend of mine. But she themes it out every year, and she attributes points to certain films. And like one year was the Video Nasties, and I had not seen a lot of those. And this year our theme is vampires. So anything with vampires, yeah. And so I started it out with the Interview with the Vampire series, which I did finally love. So it took me a while.
I told you, everyone at the conference, Interview with the Vampire, all the fucking Emmys.
Yeah.
But,
so, and I saw a bunch of movies that I'd never seen before. I saw some Zhangxi, which is the hopping Chinese vampire, which I was completely in the dark about. I did not know until
same here.
Somebody that we know costumed as that one year. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Maester Kairos, former podcast, or I guess what would we refer to him now as host alumnus?
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. Host alumnus. I like that.
But yeah, I saw a couple movies with the Zhangxi, and I saw a movie called We Are the Night, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really good. I think it was in German. I'm not really sure, but it was about this girl who's like a street urchin, and she gets taken in by these 3 female sexy vampires, and they kind of just go on a club drug fueled rampage kind of thing. It was really good. I was really impressed with it, and so I'm going to add that to my favorite list of vampire movies. And one of the ones that I always recommend to everybody is Kiss of the Damned. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. I love it. It's great. Yes. So
yeah, I like it. Well, you saw what brother podcast was talking about. He's talking about the same thing in the chat that you're talking about.
Yeah, and then Horror and Sons, who's we all know Justin's website and his page. He picked up again this year. He brought back Halloween Horrors, and I don't know when mine's coming out. I think it's later this month. But I did a review for a movie called Hush, which is Mike Flanagan. The first movie I saw by Mike Flanagan. He of the Haunting of Hill House. Mm-hmm. And The Haunting of Bly Manor, the Netflix God, and and I think Demi, did you do one? I can't remember, but I'm sharing.
I did on X.
Yeah. Oh, that's
right. X. Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll do a different movie every day of October, and it's just whatever. There was no theme this year. It's just whatever we wanted to write about. So that's I'm watching a lot of vampire movies.
Yeah. And one of the things.
Quick, I'm sorry if I can interrupt. Cheryl just mentioned in the chat that she's been playing paranormal games.
I was going to point that out.
Yeah, and I wanted to just mention if anyone is interested in a very, very Halloween themed game. And hold on. Oh yeah, okay. So I blanked on the name for a second. There's a game that came out a couple years ago called Costume Quest. And basically, it is the closest we have ever seen to Calvin and Hobbes turned into a video game. You basically play as 3 kids, and there are goblins trying to take over your city. It's very lighthearted, but it's still funny. And you start from trick-or-treating in your neighborhood, like a suburban neighborhood. Then the next level is you go to a mall for like mall trick-or-treat. And then you kind of go out to like a rural country, Christmas in a bar, Halloween in a barn kind of thing. And so they kind of hit 3 very traditional kinds of trick-or-treating. And the whole time you are building costumes. And what happens is when you run up against a monster, suddenly these little cute kids turn into whatever their costume is. So like there's a robot costume, and then you turn into a giant mech. You can one is a knight, so he'll turn into a giant knight, the Statue of Liberty. And then but the funniest thing of all, you can turn into a useless piece of candy corn that can't do anything. It can't fight. It can't attack. You just stand there and it says candy corn can't do anything. and the whole game, it's got this really slick sense of humor. It's again, it really reminds me like of Calvin and Hobbes, just down to the T, and that's clearly what they had in mind. So if anyone is looking for a game, it takes all of 4 hours. I mean, it maybe 5 or 6. It's a short game though. It's something you'll kill in an afternoon.
Young candy corn. We're not even getting into the whole candy corn because we all know that you're all wrong and it's disgusting.
Oh
But,
no, candy corn is great.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's it. You're fired. But yeah, no, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, Cheryl in the chat, you guys gotta follow her. She is like a professional like Twitch gamer, and it's fucking fantastic.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I love her stuff. But yeah, Oh Brother Podcast just said we just had Nick Matthews, the Saw X cinematographer, on the show. That's fucking awesome.
Nice.
That's fucking awesome. Oh my God.
That's just a great quote. I feel like a piece of candy corn. Candy corn does nothing.
In 2023, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. Yeah, but if you guys are watching, doing your horror theme, Halloween theme, whatever stuff this year, by all means, share it in the chat. Give some other people some recommendations, because someone actually asked me for mine again, and I love giving my recommendations because I like stuff that other people don't like. I'm a snob. Anti-apologist right there. There we go. But speaking of that, spooky, you'd think by now they'd be just slowly, rolling. No. They still got guest announcements and event announcements and all other sorts of other shit going on, which I was pretty fucking shocked.
Yep.
You were going to say something.
I'm just going to say, yep.
Oh. That's appropriate. But yeah, Mary Shelton from Scream 4, Grindhouse, Bubble Boy. That's a pretty big one. I don't think she's done the show before.
Yeah, she did 11th Hour with Rufus Sewell.
We just had a conversation about Rufus Sewell. Yes.
And I wanted.
Speaking of vampires.
Yes.
She also did a really good indie film back in the 90s called The Last Days of Disco. And
I remember that.
Just throwing that down. And Cheryl, you will enjoy it, and I'll have to watch you play because I'm a fan. I'll find you on Twitch tomorrow or wherever you stream.
Yeah, that's maybe he'll stream on our Twitch and play the game and whatever. But that's really cool. And then we talked about the Lost Boys, Jason Patrick, Kiefer Sutherland, Billy Wirth. And you know what? Y'all, the hair on that man is fucking iconic.
Yeah.
And Harry knows what I mean when I say Jayla Rose hair.
Oh yeah.
Just beautiful fucking hair. You can just pet the hair all night long. It has magical powers. Oh,
we just watched Lost Boys this afternoon, and I was like, oh damn, I forgot how great everybody looked. I mean, yeah, of course we were all young, but I was like, oh my God, all the hair. Everybody just looks so good.
Exactly.
Jason Patrick doesn't have that hair anymore. Yeah. Just spoilers.
The Alex Winter extensions, maybe not so much, but
no, but like you said, like Billy Wirth looked great. Jason Patrick,
Carter, who we missed.
Yeah, Carter, yeah. So,
but and this is actually a pretty fucking big announcement, man. Nick Frost. For those of you that are Shaun of the Dead fans, Nick fucking Frost.
Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, people were definitely going nuts over that, and all I could say is, I've never seen any of those Simon Pegg movies. I haven't seen the only thing I've seen Simon Pegg in was Star Trek.
Shame.
I've seen Star Trek, and I've seen Ready Player One. Other than that, I don't think I've even seen a Simon Pegg movie. No.
Any secrets to reveal? Hell yes. Just stay tuned. Oh, we got lots of secrets to reveal, and I'm sure we're going to get yelled at, just like we always do, because we're not supposed to say stuff, but we're going to say it anyway. But yeah, Nick Frost, and so everyone's thinking maybe Simon Pegg, because apparently the two of them are attached at the hip. I don't know.
No way. It's too close. We couldn't possibly have that come this close. It's
not.
Nothing is impossible.
This year, after this year, normally I would have said it's like, with 30 days to go, why would you, even announce somebody? And you know what? I've been proven wrong time after time. I said, no way Kiefer Sutherland was going to do it. He showed up.
I did not expect Kiefer Sutherland as an announcement at all.
I know nothing anymore. Rob's opinion pretty much means shit, folks. So
it's interesting. And one of the interesting things about Spooky is you have no idea who's going to show up at the show. I mean, we remember and David Arquette, who was just at Spookala, which we'll get into in a minute, actually showed up at Spooky One here just because.
I mean, plus, he ended up showing a movie. He did end up showing The Tripper, which is, if you're a slasher, it's a great fucking film.
But yeah, it's like he showed up. Who was it that we had announced last minute just a few years ago? Oh God, I'm brain farting. Oh shit, Matt!
Matt made it back.
Jesus.
Yay!
Can
I
y'all
was like,
hear
you
me?
probably have 3 brain
We can
cells
hear
right
you.
now.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, but we're talking about guest announcements and how Rob thinks that even 30 days out, they're not going to announce anyone big, but they announced Nick Frost.
Right.
How happy are you about Nick Frost?
I'm pretty stoked. I prefer Simon Pegg, but pretty stoked.
But it's possible because they're
Yeah.
like this,
Yep.
nothing's unheard of. And so for those of you that are wrestling fans, they've made a couple of big announcements as far as if you're into the whole, and which is why I wish Mike was on, because he knows the WCW versus WWE, and I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, well, it's okay. So they announced Devon Dudley. He was one half of the Dudley Boys. That was one of like the 3 big tag teams of the biggest era ever. But it's funny because apparently he and his tag team partner, Bubba Ray Dudley, really more or less can't stand one another. So, you will not get the other. That's the bottom line here. You'll get one, not 2.
Drama.
So yeah, we've got him, and that's actually it's interesting thing about him. I think everyone knows that Dave Bautista was a pro wrestler before he became an actor. Devon was trained him. Like when he made it to the big time roster, he was like Devon's assistant, and he kind of got him ready to get to the next level and helped get his feet wet and blah blah blah. So.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because we'll get into this later. But one of the things that we learned about Spookala is during Michael Rooker's panel, Dave Bautista just shows up. What the fuck? And as it was Craig said in the chat, Greg Nicotero apparently showed up one year and went by his booth. So it's like Simon Pegg, possible, and Dave Bautista, if he showed up at Spookala, since Devon is going to be spooky,
anything's possible.
Anything is possible. So,
and who's the other
then
announcement?
Jennifer just mentioned I'm into the horror character wrestling. Well, that's kind of what the next announcement was. Alba Fry and Isla Dawn. I don't actually know how to say her name. They've got a funny story going on. They're a tag team, and in the women's tag team division, what's funny about this is one half of the teams have been breaking a leg or an arm or getting injured. So they have to give up the title. The next group gets it. Somebody else gets injured. The next group gets it. I mean, they've been getting injured really, really fast. And so what they did is they brought these 2 in, and they've kind of got like a witch gimmick where they've cursed the belts so that no one else can have them without getting injured before they get them. So it's like, okay, there's your new horror tag team.
Okay, that's actually interesting. And actually, and saying in the chat, and this is a really great question. Praying for the strike to end, you might get some more shows. That's actually really interesting, and I don't know if Matt or Harriet have more insight to that because I actually really don't know a lot about it. But if the strike is over, will we get more guests? Do you think, or will some cancel?
It would be the
I
complete
think
opposite.
most would cancel because
Yeah.
they have to go back to work.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be the case, because usually when they do cons, they're kind of contracted. But if they get something that they can't really, turn down, I mean, that does come first. But so far, knock on wood, we haven't had any. We just had Tony Todd cancel, like right at when the strike was announced to
Writer's
be
strike
over.
ended.
But you know what? He's got work, and he's going to put out something fantastic, whatever it is. So
Right. So,
I'm okay with it.
but there's a plethora of guests this year. And if somebody does, have to
Yeah,
cancel,
there's more than enough.
yeah, there's plenty to go around.
Yeah, I really think this is probably the most guests, at least arguably the most guests that Spooky has had at one show. I would like it because it just more and more and more, which is fucking unbelievable. But here's the thing. Spooky is not a show just about like autographs and vendors. They've got a bunch of shit going on, and we've talked about it in previous podcasts, but there's like so much more that they just announced. Well, one of the things we want to announce is our thing first, just because it's our show. So obviously we come first. And it's not necessarily horror, but it's just fun. What is this?
Me,
You. Oh,
I'm going.
oh, are you?
Yeah, he's the important one.
Okay. But yeah, we're basically at the pub is where everyone's going to meet up. That's where the zombie walk is going to be starting Friday. And the pub also has, if you show them your Spooky Empire wristband or badge, you get 10% off all week, anything all weekend. So keep that in mind.
And we'll go over this later, but the fact is the pub is actually within walking distance. It's probably the best place to eat around the Hyatt.
Agreed.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you want
they do really good food there.
Yeah, it's good. It's not too far. It won't kill you to walk there.
Yeah. If I can walk it, and I'm slow as fuck.
Yeah, so the fact that they have 10% off, your ticket all weekend, take advantage of it for a meal or two because it's again, it's going to be better than you're going to get in most of those places anywhere, unless you are really willing to walk a couple solid iDrive blocks.
Which is like city blocks, not like they're big blocks.
Yeah.
Penis. But and the thing that we're doing is Thursday night we usually do a meetup, an informal thing. So it's not official spooky anything, but it's a lot of us to get together and spooky family and spend some time before the fucking chaos, because we know the October show is the one where everybody's running like a chicken with their head cut off. So it's nice to actually get together with everyone Thursday night just to connect, and this way we don't have to feel like we're running the entire weekend to catch up with everybody. But what we're doing is something a little different this time around, just because we saw it was a viral trend, and there's any excuse to wear a muumuu. Let's be honest. A kaftan is the most comfortable fucking thing you can wear, male, female, what the fuck ever. And if you've seen it, I think it started in San Francisco or San Diego. I'm not sure. San Diego.
German for a whale's vagina.
Yes. Whale's vagina. I like that. That should be the title of the show. I like that. But basically, everybody suddenly dressed up as Mrs. Roper from Three's Company. If you don't know who that is, obviously you're too young to be watching this webcast. But yeah, Three's Company, Mrs. Roper, absolute icon. And we've decided, you know what? Let's throw on Mrs. Roper and have fun. Because why the fuck not? Because it's funny, it's hilarious, and super fucking comfortable. And Matt, I better see you in a Mrs. Roper outfit since this was your fucking idea. What are you shaking your head for?
I haven't had time to do shit.
Oh, this was all his idea.
It was my idea. It was.
Look, you got a Ross near you. Everyone does.
And that actually answers an important question, though, because everyone's like, well, where do I get that? Well, you can go on Amazon, but realistically, hi, Robbie. But realistically, if you go to Ross, they have them there for probably like $10. There's a comfortable kaftan.
Less than that.
Probably.
Ross, trust me, very little is $10 at Ross.
Yeah, and some ridiculous jewelry and a cheap ass Party City wig, and boom, there you go. And like I said, it's not necessarily hard, but you know what? And we've got it on Facebook. I kind of incorporated the two. We're calling it Halloween because her first name is Helen, so Helen Ween.
See how that works?
Helen Ween.
I thought it was clever. Fuck y'all. I don't care. And no, it's not something that we're doing all night. And no, you don't necessarily have to participate. But if you do, we've got something a little planned for everyone who does participate. And perhaps a couple of our favorites. So if you're a competitive type and you like things, Helen Wiener. Yes. Since Ween, I figured it was going in that direction. So
I don't know what you're talking about. My sense of humor is tasteful.
Okay. But yeah, and Cheryl's got her dresses. So yeah, and Cheryl was throwing down. So y'all got some competition.
Michael clearly never watched Three's Company because he says, I'm going to dress as Norman Fell and hit on all the Mrs. Ropers. Norman Fell was the last person to hit on Mrs. Roper.
There we go. Now you started something.
Just saying. That was the whole dynamic of the relationship.
Yeah, let's say those 2 different seasons.
All right, moving on.
But speaking of the pub, the zombie walk starts there Friday. So for those of you that want to get there, and I think it starts normally around noon or 1, I think, is where people start slowly getting, holy shit, what the fuck? Are we just going to let that go?
Hold on. I'm working on it.
I was like, we're not ignoring this. Hold on.
Look at that.
That's right. Stanley will pull the shelf up. That's right, Carl.
God damn it. No one wants to look at me.
There it is.
Wow.
Okay, so what is it that we're looking at here?
This is a bust I'm working on to have keeper sign.
Now, are these going to be available at all?
Oh no, this is just for me.
So you're just showing off just to piss everyone off because they can't buy one.
Correct. I mean,
So
if
there are
people
not going to be
want one-
pre-orders.
Oh no,
Oh,
get a friggin' head on there.
That's incredible.
that's
Wow.
And then I'm working on making his
amazing.
eyeballs. That's why there's nothing in there, so they look more realistic.
Yeah. So, like I said, for those of you that wanted, a prepay on that or whatever, you know what? You can yell at Freak Show Unlimited right there.
That's right.
Because that's a teaser right there. You just gave everybody fucking blue balls. You know that, right?
Well, that might ultimately end up being a mug at some point, just a smaller version of this.
In the meantime, buy Freak Show's hot sauce, and then after you've eaten
that's
it,
really
and
not
it's
a
taken
good
effect,
segue.
send pictures to Matt for what
That was
he's
the
doing.
worst segue
you know,
ever.
just saying. I thought it was a very good segue.
But yeah, it is absolutely beautiful though. But as far as the pub, those of you that plan on coming Friday, until things open up, go over to the pub, meet up with friends, have a few drinks, get your zombie makeup done, and do the zombie walk. That is a tradition we have had just about every single year at Spooky. A lot of us, I've always thought it should be Sunday. I understand why it's not, but I was like, everyone's looking like a zombie come Sunday anyway. But yeah, so those of you, I believe it starts at 4, I believe.
What starts at 4?
The zombie
that's-
walk. Do I have an echo?
No, zombie walk with. Well, here, just let's move on. I'll give you the time in a second.
I think it starts at 1-ish. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
sure.
well, everyone gathers around that time, but the actual walk doesn't start, I believe, until about 4.
Oh, 3 or 4. I don't know. I know that
Yeah.
they said that back in the day, like the older days, they had Jesse Fish doing the lead,
Mhm.
and he
He's
would
doing
like,
it this year too.
yeah, he
Yeah,
would
from
do
the
the whole,
Deadite Empire.
He's
Yep.
coming back.
yeah, he would do the whole chainsaw ripping apart of the corpse to open up the zombie walk, and that kind of starts Spooky Empire. And he's coming back this year, so I'm kind of curious if they're doing the whole big show spiel again this time.
Yeah, I was going to say, in recent years, they've been opening up the show by 3:00, though. You know,
That's
it's
true.
there. They
It
don't.
might be
There's so
starting
much
at
going
3.
on. They don't wait till 5. Like when they started the zombie walk at 4, that's when the first panels and the tickets only started at 5.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
I think it's going to be earlier. That's why I think they'll announce the official time. I just looked. They have not set a time yet. They just said Friday afternoon.
Yeah. Well, the best way to do that is, like I said, around 1, go over to the pub, have a couple drinks if they're not ready yet. Your friends will be there. It's a nice way for everybody to start getting revved up for the show. So I'll be there around 1 and just go on from there. Simple as that.
But consult Spooky's Facebook page for the
As
definitive.
always,
Yes.
official affiliated media, blah, 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 allegedly. Thank you very
Nothing.
much. All right. And then let's see. Oh, interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead there. I thought I had some juicy gossip, but that's later on. All right. 10% off your bill at the pub all weekend, as we said. Now, this was actually really interesting. And those of you guys that are super fanboys of Danielle Harris, and let's face it, you all are. Danielle Harris and Scott Taylor Compton, goddamn, doing their 100th podcast of Talk Scary to Me. So, Rob, you want to talk about this?
Well, I mean, that you pretty much summed the whole thing up. But they are, the two of them have had a podcast for a while, obviously, because they're about to do their 100th episode at Spooky Empire, and they're doing a special ticketed event. So, unfortunately, they'll both be doing panels on their respective Halloweens and Screams or whatever. No, they're both Halloween. But to be a part of their podcast, it's going to be a separate ticketed event for $120. Now that ain't cheap, but in all credit, you get some stuff along with that $120. The Oh My Brother podcast, they've got it, so he threw down.
So then he knows, yeah. And here's the thing:
that
that gets
120
you.
will get you a ticket for the show. Additionally, you'll get an autographed photo of the two of them. You'll be able to take a selfie with them. And you'll get some additional merch that they're going to give away. So basically, if you're getting a signed picture from the both of them, I was going to run you $80 to $100 as it is.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty good deal if you are fans of the two of them.
That's
And
cool.
here's-
I about that.
It is very cool. And one of the things I will say is that, Danielle Harris is a horror fan just like the rest of us. So she knows how to give a good value. This isn't going to be your typical cash transaction, click next. No. If you're VIP, especially with them, I get the feeling you're going to have a very exclusive situation.
Experience. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that
serious.
sounds like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's really fucking cool. And this one, and I know Harry's super excited about this one because she was just waiting for this announcement. The Spooky Arcade.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so bringing back. I mean, Rob, do you want to talk about the pinball that they had and?
Well,
what
truth be
this
told, we don't
means?
actually know what they're going to bring. This is a different group that's doing it this time around.
I thought it was free play.
No,
Well, the
they're set to free play.
Yeah, the games are free play, but they're being brought in by Lowry Parkade.
Well, I thought free play Florida. Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, Lowry Parkade is bringing them, but they didn't list which games they were bringing. So
They just said that there's horror games. And they've left it at that, which probably means the Addams Family, The Walking Dead, The Munsters. I mean, there's a huge selection of horror themes.
Picture of the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
And then if they're bringing any actually,
I know what free play means, but I meant Free Play Florida, which was the pinball horror convention. So that's what I thought they were actually doing it. Okay. I'm not that drunk, goddammit. Yeah.
There's an Elvira. Anyway, there's a ton of pinball games, and then if they're going to do any arcade games, I'm a little scratching my head on what they would bring. But I think the first Splatterhouse was an arcade. There's a whole bunch. House of the Dead shooters. Yeah, there were a lot of shooting games. And who knows? Maybe they'll bring us. Maybe they'll bring in. What was that?
Alien.
Yeah, Alien.
That was a shooter one too. Yeah,
there was Alien versus Predator, the arcade game. That was cool.
That's where we'll see John all weekend.
Anyway, point is, they will have stuff. They had already announced the tabletop gaming room, and now they have an actual arcade, which I imagine they're going to be fairly close to one another. So,
yeah. And that's the whole thing. And we always talk about if there's any sort of way you want to get away from the crowds, that's one of the places you want to do it. That especially the pinball. Yeah. Which another place we're going to get to in a minute, which Harriet is going to talk about. And it's going to be fucking fantastic. And it's going to blow your mind, man.
Somebody missed me.
What? Huh?
I literally just came home. So Hooper was just getting up.
He was being attacked by Hooper.
Oh, okay. I looked down for a second. Apparently, I can't do that because things will happen. Silly me. One of the vaudevillains are going to be back. Burlesque Friday night, which is fucking fantastic. And this is what we mean when we say spooky is not just a sign and vendors sort of thing. The burlesque show is coming back. And the one thing we will say, and we say this every year, and y'all ignore us, and that's just fucking stupid as fuck. Do not bring your children to a burlesque show.
But you will anyway, because you're a fucking moron.
You know what? They've gone out of their way and said 18 plus this year. I don't remember them actually saying that in previous years.
That's true.
I'm hoping, and as long as it's enforced, but yeah, I mean, it's been like, it's really awkward. You're next to a teenager and you're like, oh, you're dirty. Get away from me.
But that's
gross.
The Friday night burlesque has always been a tradition. It was like, it used to be every year. Friday night, they would have the vaudevillains come in and do a burlesque show. And they do announce it as 18 and up. There's nothing that's, they don't necessarily show everything and anything. But I think it was last year. I do remember somebody, it was an adult that kind of got out of hand and they were removed from the room. So if you go, be respectful, be nice, and don't yell out things from the audience that are offensive.
Here's the thing. If you do, we're going to know who you are. Mm-hmm. You're going to be a subject on our show, and you're going to get made fun of copiously.
And you're going to get removed from the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, and some people do ask, why do they do it so early? Why do they do it at 8:00? Because drunk idiots will be drunk idiots, but they're less likely to be drunk at 8:00.
Yeah. And we know we have a lot of first-time convention goers. This is not a bar. This is a show you're going to go see. Get your singles. You can tip. They will love it when you tip. Otherwise, sit, shut the fuck up, keep your kids at home, and be
Yeah,
respectful.
Cheryl is infamous for being the troublemaker at the burlesque show year after year. So, we're
I think she's on a list.
yeah. No, I'm not sure if she can get in this year. We'll find out.
But yeah, for those of you that are coming to this for a first time, yes, it's an amazing burlesque show. I mean, Vita is a fucking goddess, as we all know.
I don't know if she'll be there, but it's the Vaudevillains. But I don't know if
It's her troupe, regardless. And
true. Yeah, it is.
yeah, fucking fantastic and amazing. And it is an absolute must-see, fantastic show. The characters that they bring out. You want to talk this amazing horror burlesque at its finest. There is none better. But yeah, please just remember, yes, and we have to say this because we tend to forget a lot of new people are coming to the show and they haven't experienced something like this before. So these are things that, while we think of them as common sense, they don't know. And that's why we're here. So shut the fuck up and tip well.
Tip me too.
Yeah.
You can always pay extra for my shit. That's fine. Help me fund my move.
All right. Well, as Randy mentioned, the other reason the Vaudevillains are at 8 is because Rocky Horror will be at 11 this year, which a little unusual for. Well, that's not unusual, but it's
not.
In the grander scheme of things, when Rocky Horror is on, not at midnight, it's always a little confusing.
That's true. I didn't realize they weren't at midnight. Okay.
Yeah, they start at 11 p.m. this year, which I think that's what they usually do.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Rocky Horror Shadowcast. It's always a good time. If you're around people who know what they're doing, Rocky Horror is an absolute wonderful thing.
And if you haven't, you definitely, let someone who's seen it before bring you, so you are the virgin.
Yeah.
They like their virgin sacrifices.
Yeah.
That's always sorts of fun.
I will say the first time they did Rocky at Spooky was 2005. I was so very excited. I
am shocked that he was able to remember any of it.
No, I'm not able to. I remember that I was too drunk to remember it. Basically, I just remember because in 2005, Spookies didn't really have a lot of nighttime activities going on.
It was the second year.
Yeah, it was third year.
Whatever. Okay.
Our second year. But they had Rocky scheduled for midnight, and then a lot of downtime in between. I had gotten completely drunk at a party that spontaneously happened in our room. And when I went downstairs, I don't know if I actually made it there or not, but I know Demi had to take me to the bathroom to throw up. And then I was brought back to the room. And that's all I just remember I was there, and I think I vaguely remember saying, I don't feel good. So,
but he was actually physically at Rocky Horror. But no, and Randy's right. The troupe that does it is absolutely fantastic. We've had a number of different groups. This is one of my personal favorites. So everyone will ask me, well, what is there to do with the show? What is there to do with the show? Well, we're showing you right here. You got burlesque and fucking Rocky Horror. Don't complain that, do I go to Halloween Horror Nights? No, you're not going to have time because there's too much shit going on.
Yeah, somebody posted about what else is there to do around town. Like, dude, you're going to be so busy. You don't realize it.
Spooky's the best thing you can do.
There's going to be so much going on. You're just going to be overwhelmed. It's not just autographs and Q&A panels or vendors. There's so much stuff going on. You're just not going to have time.
We just told you the zombie walk, the burlesque show, Rocky Horror.
This is not horror megacon where it's a bunch of soulless fucking people just walking around doing nothing. This is a party.
No, that's one of the things you want to do, and we say this every year. But when Spooky has their schedule, and I think there's an app called Sked, SCHED, where they put everything, so you start planning your panels and everything. Get it, download it now. This way you have everything in your phone so you can get reminders when things start, because you're going to forget. There's going to be so much shit going on. You're not going to remember to eat, because it happens every goddamn year. So
true.
It is very much true. And speaking of other things going on, tiki mugs. Dude, the tiki mug this year, and I'm not even into really tiki culture that much, but the 20th anniversary tiki mug?
It's cute.
It really is.
It's cute.
I don't know if we have a picture of it.
Nope.
I don't know if our producer can our producer find a photo of it or go to the page or something of that variety.
Yeah. Stretch.
This will be the first one that I'm getting. Well, let's talk about spook. Let's talk about tiki mugs for a moment, shall we?
They've
Yes.
had them in the past years. They I think the first one was Bill from
And every
Night
single
of the
one
Dead.
is a work of art, whether it's Riku Browning, Bill Hinsman, whatever. But you were gonna say.
So my tiki mug
Harriet,
this year.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Matt.
No, I talk. No, go ahead.
Matt.
This will be the tiki mug that I will have for Spooky.
Ooh.
Is that Romero?
That is George Romero.
With funds going to
The Garf.org, the George Romero Foundation, George A. Romero Foundation.
Yes. And if you
We had
watch our
Suzanne
previous
on a little
episodes,
bit,
you know
yeah.
about Suzanne, who was on the show. She was a lovely interview. She was absolutely fantastic. And so, the George A. Romero Foundation. So look that up. Go get it.
Proceeds, well, not proceeds, but $25 for every mug sold will go to the foundation, and their foundation helps indie horror filmmakers to make their stuff. So, but that's there you go. That's the
Look at that.
It's so cute. The little
It's
pumpkin with the
adorable.
back.
I'm not even into tiki mugs, and I'm like, I kind of have to have it, especially for the 20th anniversary. That's kind of nice.
It's really cool, and they don't skimp on these when they make these. They are quality pieces. They are. I've got a couple of them. We've purchased them in the past, and they are some heavy duty things. These are
Shrunken Monkey does a great job.
Yeah, these are not plastic mugs. These are ceramic and carved and painted.
Yeah,
and
these are
limited
pieces of
edition.
art. I'm afraid to touch my Bill one because it's
If you watch, I don't remember what season of Face Off he was on, but Doc, he is the owner and head artist, of or Dave O'Connell, of Shrunken Monkey, and those are his babies.
fucking fantastic.
I'm
All
actually,
of them that he's done for Spooky.
Interesting.
we're actually watching Face Off right now. Because I hadn't never seen any of them. Because V Neal is gonna be there, and I hadn't watched any of Face Off, so I was like, I need to watch Face Off. So we started at season 1, and we're up to season 9 so far. So
Has Dave been on yet?
has what?
Have you seen Dave on there yet, Doc?
I think so. I think he was one of the earlier seasons, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
Nick was always my
It was
favorite.
the girl with the big hair, and they were dating for a while, and they were partners for a while at Spooky when they would come in and do. They had the little booth, and they sold the shrunken head doggy poop bags and the dog bowls and things like that. I don't remember those guys. That's where they started, and that's right after they were on Face Off.
Well, some of the people on that show are characters in and of themselves.
Yes.
I was like, you need to be on camera. It's like, I'm seeing some of these people and how they present themselves and talk and what they've done. I was like, God, they're already either having their own special effects company or they've been doing it for 20 years or whatever. It's really
reality TV at its finest.
Yeah.
But speaking of things to do, before we move on with all this juicy gossip and news and stuff, we did want to talk again about the film festival, considering like things to do and whatnot. Harriet went and did a deep dive on a lot of the stuff that you will see at the film festival, and so she's got a report. And our correspondent is chiming in from Altamont Springs, Florida.
I'm actually in Kissimmee.
Same.
Somewhere else.
Yeah. I've been going through trying to find as many films as I can. They're in blocks. They're in different blocks. You have your sci-fi, you have your funny, you have your family. But there's one that kind of stuck out at me so far that I thought was really cute. It's called the Top 10 Mysterious Mysteries, and it's exactly what you think. It's the top 10 mysterious mysteries. It's I loved it. I thought it was cute. There's a disturbing block.
Right up my alley.
There's a disturbing block, and then there's an occult block, which I think I'm going to try to make as many of those as I can. There was a short called Family Night, and that was difficult to Google because you Google Family Night, and I'm like, okay, Google Family Night horror film 2023 Spooky Empire. So some of these I'm only finding the poster art, but some of them seem really good. There's a guy that's he did a movie called Hooves, as in deer hooves. And
Hooves. Okay, yeah.
Hooves. Yeah, the director's from Bahrain, which I thought was interesting.
Boobs and hooves?
Hooves, Hooves.
No, that's just going on about boobs. So that's a whole nother
Boobs and
different movie.
hooves.
That's
Hooves.
Jenna Jameson about hooves and boobs. But continue.
Yeah.
Boats and
So,
hooves.
yeah, and then there's a sci-fi one that I think I'm going to go for. So, yeah, The Signal, Tell Him. There's a couple that I'm looking at, but I'm still in the middle of doing the deep dives. But yeah, the disturbing, the occult, and the sci-fi, I think so far are what I'm going to be looking at attending, and try to get in as many as I can while I'm there, because they're real. Most of them are going to be shorts. There are a couple of full length
Features.
narrative films, but if you have time between panels, between celebs, between photo ops, whatever,
Well, what else is there to do?
duck into the film fest, watch a film. Most of them are going to be less than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are about 20, 28 minutes. But you also get to vote on them. So, they have
Those of you with a God complex.
yeah, they have the best of the fest at the end of the day on Sunday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, but another one else, I'm sure on the Spooky website, the Spooky Empire Film Fest website or whatever. But yeah,
especially on Instagram. There's hashtags on Instagram for those of you that are on Instagram.
Yeah, and some of the trailers, most of what I can find online are just trailers, and they're really good. What I've seen so far, I can highly recommend them. And but yeah, that top 10 mysterious mysteries, I think is probably one of my favorites so far, because it was almost like a parody of X-Files.
Oh,
So real quick, this is the poop bag holder.
Nice.
It sits in here. It's missing all of his sewing that he did, because it's been sitting outside hanging from a lantern.
That's cool as fuck.
As a prop. But yeah, that's what they started doing, and I love this thing.
That's really cool. Yeah, and Cheryl just said, I am comedy relief because I'm so afraid of horror movies. Well, I mean, they have sci-fi.
Don't they have a comedy horror genre?
They do. They have a comedy block. They have a comedy block. They have kind of, I think they have an animated one. I'm still in the process of doing more
animated horror.
As we do.
We've all got our little niche, man.
As we do more shows leading up to Spooky, I'm trying to get more and more information. I want to find out who is going to be there, director-wise or actor-wise, and from what film. So I'll put in a question to the people who are running it and see what I can find out. But yeah,
I'm just looking at the chat, just because the chat is going on about poop bag holders.
That's why I had to go get it so I could show you.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently that's a thing now.
That's a thing. All right.
Dave, if you're watching, bring them back. Bring them back.
They're wanting them. Apparently, yeah, it's a hot ticket item, apparently. Jeez, that's hilarious. Oh my God. But speaking of, there's a few people in the chat as well. Spookala was on this weekend. Spookala. I've heard that if they're in Ocala, it's Spookala, and it's Spookala if it's in Tampa. I don't know. I got no idea.
Spookampa.
Sure. That's what I'm going to, yeah. But it's interesting because I did ask a number of people, because regardless, people are trying to no. We are the fan collective. We want to present not just what we think, but things we hear from the fan conglomerate. So it is interesting because I was very curious how it was going to go off. It was going to be anything like a first-year convention, or if it was going to be more of an organized, I don't know, meet and greet sort of thing. I wasn't sure. Now, we do have someone on panel that was there all 3 days that has a unique perspective.
Let's go to our man on the street, Freak Show Matt.
Oh boy.
As a vendor, let's just talk that.
Sure. Because I know you also spoke to a number of other vendors that were there as well.
How would you rank your Spookala experience as a vendor, please?
I think after we made table and gas and food and electric and all that, I think we made maybe $300.
Wow.
Totally.
Not terribly impressive.
No, not at all. It was pretty. I want to say horrible, but it was pretty horrible. Not saying, I don't know. I don't know if it's this that shows don't work in Tampa for horror, because when Spooky was down in Tampa, that fucking sucked too. We didn't make any money on that show, but it was everywhere. And I don't know if it was the setup. They had it set up kind of weird. Like the vendor room was one major part of it, and then the autograph room was next door, but also behind a curtain, the panels were going on with a big screen. So it seemed to me that everybody just stayed in the autograph room, watched all the panels that were going on without actually going to the panels, and never came through the vendor room. And if they did, they made one round and took off or went back to get autographs, because the lines for like Lillard and Skeet and those guys were crazy. I posted today was not busy at all. I posted a walk around the celebrity room today.
So you got yelled at.
Until I got yelled at, and then I had to turn the camera off.
But I
The
did
things
talk
I
to
do
him
for our host Demi,
Oh,
trying to get a good shot for you.
I know. I told you to put him in the trunk. Dermot
I
Mulroney,
know.
that's my guy. And just it broke my heart not being able to see him. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to do it. It's just there's not enough money to go around, you know.
But one of the main things that I've noticed, and a lot of the other vendors noticed, between, if we're going to compare the vibe, is Spookala seems like, and this is going off of when I went to the last show, when we all went different days, and I went on Sunday, you guys went on Saturday or Friday or whatever it was. It has more of a kind of a stagnant feeling, more of a like MegaCon. When you go there, it's just
Corporate.
very corporate, yeah, and it doesn't have the same party vibe and feel that Spooky tends to have.
Now we do have a couple of questions in the chat. I don't know if you're following the chat too.
Sterile, that's good, Robbie. Yes, sterile, very good.
Yeah, where was it? Looked like it was a big warehouse. Now, where did it take place?
It was at the Tampa Fairgrounds, right behind where the what do you call it? The amphitheater where they do all the shows in Tampa by the Hard Rock. Right behind that's the equestrian. It's another equestrian center area, but that's
so
their
very
fair.
much
Everybody really
kind of
likes
a
horses
setup.
way too much.
Yeah, it's a state
And I'm
fairgrounds.
noticing a real fascination with we're hanging out with horses.
horses.
I'm uncomfortable, not gonna lie. Spookala, work on the goddamn brand. You don't want to be the horse fucking show.
There you go, Carl. Yeah, Kratos said it was like a horror flea market. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Yeah,
It wasn't. It just didn't have the same vibe, not the same feeling. It's. I know a lot of vendors will not be going back because they said so, which is going to hurt them.
I talked to a number of vendors as well because I just wanted to get a general rounded out view. And for the what?
Duck flying around
There was a
inside
duck?
The fuck?
I mean, that could have been there was a booth there that had it was very cool. They had a wolf dog that was absolutely gorgeous. They also had a what do you call it? A pied African pied crow that they were taking around, which are basically the only ones you can legally have as a pet. They had an owl. They had some really cool animals there. It was they were really cool. And they were really nice people.
Bring
It
the
wasn't
animals
the
to
zoo.
Spooky. I will take them all home.
It wasn't the zoo people that have been at Spooky before that have like the kangaroo cub or the Joey and the sloth you can hang out. They were there and they had all kinds. They had they were adopting Australian Shepherd puppies for $1,500 and adopting Aussie doodles for $2,500.
Wow.
That I got.
But they were cute.
Cute, but no,
I got
we
to go
don't.
play
We
with
don't do
puppies.
the puppy mill breeder thing. No, we don't do that.
Well,
But,
they're mutts. They are designer mutts for four figures. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh my
anyway,
God.
from the vibe I got, basically, it was
Yeah, because like I said, we
It's
spoke to a
still a
number of
one-day
different
show.
vendors all around, and
It's
they all
still a
pretty much
one-day
had the same
show.
experience as Matt.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like from everything I heard, the people who attended, I did hear good things from people who are like the autograph hounds. They got their
things from people
moments,
who've been
which is
That
great.
room was packed all weekend. Packed. It was
But
packed
it
all
still
weekend.
sounded like it's a one-day show. Like people went for one
Could have
day, get their autographs, and then left.
And that's one of the things I see in the chat that they're talking about. There weren't any late night events. From what I understand, there was supposed to be a rave, but it was canceled because of low ticket sales. So,
And I did
Then-
want to mention this. I'll just go on the record.
and
I'm
that's
not
exactly
a
what
fan.
I'm talking about.
I'm not a fan of animals at conventions. I just don't think it's a good idea. I mean, I've been to a few where they bring in puppies because they're trying to get them like actually adopted, like the Humane Society,
Right.
Judy's Pet Rescue. They bring them in, and
That's
that
not what this
I'm
was.
okay with. I'm still not. I don't love it because I just don't think animals need that much
Stimulation.
Noise and stimulation.
stimulus. It's just not good for them. But again, I don't care for stuff like that. So anyway, off my soapbox. Thank you. I'm done.
But Jennifer,
Well, it's
you're
cool.
probably
If you were
right.
bored,
They
you could
probably
just
didn't-
go over and pet them.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
But yeah, and apparently from what we're seeing, they didn't advertise enough, which absolutely agreed. VIP at Busch Gardens was not busy. Interesting. Okay. So the VIP party was at Busch Gardens? Is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing?
Yeah, they were one of the sponsors, and they
Oh,
free
okay.
tickets
Okay. The one who
to Hollow
sponsors.
Stream
Okay.
for VIP.
Okay. Wow. That's completely not cool. But I'm hearing basically that most people, if they made a profit, it was a very small profit. But one of the stories that we did hear was from our darling Robbie Vamps in the chat. And she, I don't know if she wants to tell the story. I guess Rob can probably tell it better.
I got a little bit
kids.
from her. First of all, Vamps Emporium, all sorts of good stuff. But one of the things she has for the adult,
Adult.
the discreet adult of refined taste, she has naked people buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Just random 70s,
Ni
80s.
cojones.
Yeah, just great. It's lovely
Ni
pictures
gazungas.
of vintage pornography. That's kind
Especially
of
if you like 70s stuff.
smut. Okay, yeah,
Smut,
fair
as
enough.
she likes to put it,
Robbie
smut,
sells
yeah.
smut. She is a smut peddler.
Smut
And-
peddler.
If you've ever been to her booth before, she has her treasure chest of buttons, and then there's usually the secret compartment or a separate one for the smutty buttons. And some delightful artist purchased all of her smut buttons. Just
In
whoosh.
one go. Took the box and all.
And I thought that was let artists helping artists right there, if you ask me.
We thought it was like some old creeper that was going to do something really weird with the buttons.
There you
and
go.
little
Treasure chest of chests.
private. Yeah.
Treasure chest of wangs as well. I've seen the buttons.
Yes. But yeah,
$400 worth of buttons, and this one artist just snapped them up. That's
which is fucking awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's much more tame than what I actually thought it was going to be.
yeah. We were all a little disappointed it wasn't some creepy old pervy man going, "Hey, you got any of them smut buttons?"
Supposedly he stood there for quite a while and went through every single one of them and then decided to buy the whole thing.
Wow. Now there's a story. That's a story. That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, Robin also mentioned something else that they
Virtual
they
lines.
did. Spookala used the virtual queue for
Yeah.
the celebrity lines, and it
Oh,
sounds
City
like
Lily?
they had
That's
it
awesome.
worked out by Saturday. But Friday, it seemed to have been a goddamn disaster, to put it lightly, because I heard some people, it didn't work. They had to get in lines. I heard some people waited up to 7 hours.
For Matthew Lillard, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that it crashed.
Matthew Long Dong Lillard.
I don't know if that was because of too many.
That's his
people
actual given Christian name. Yeah.
too
Yeah.
many people at once, or if it was just because it's new. I don't know. So the virtual queue wasn't working on Friday. So, but I think they got it working on Saturday. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't hear any more complaints after the fact.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's probably like first year con, and that's first year con, but especially in a big place like that, it's the first year
It's
they
a
do
cool
something
idea.
Like that. It's
Yes.
a great idea. So
Yeah, you got to make
something
sure
like
it
that
works
could be-
beforehand.
So, I mean, I'm glad that it ended up working out. But I did hear about the long lines, and unfortunately, that absolutely sucks.
And David Arquette left in an ambulance on Saturday at the end of the show. I'm not sure. He didn't look very healthy.
We're
when
worried
I saw
about you,
him.
David.
So
Well,
hopefully
you know,
he's
in all
okay.
fairness, he's in
but
Florida.
That could do it. That could do it. Being in Florida could easily put you in an ambulance. I know, I've been there. But yeah, I mean, I'm sad. When he was there, he seemed like he was having a good time. And I heard nothing but wonderful things about him because David's
Every
an
time I
absolute
looked, he said he was
fantastic.
a maniac.
Yeah, he's the absolute sweetheart. I follow him on TikTok, of course, because I'm that weirdo. But it does reinforce something that we've said on this show many, many, many times. Do not wait until the end or the middle of the show. If you want to meet somebody, get it out of the way. Because unfortunately, those people that actually like came later on to see him didn't get to see him.
Yeah. So
You know, anything can happen. It's unfortunate, but that's why we always suggest Friday, unless someone's only going to be there Saturday. But as soon as they're there, get your autograph out of the way. Otherwise, you're spending most of your day waiting in line, and you know nobody wants
so
that.
just a reminder, whether it's an autograph, whether it's an item that a vendor has that you really like, just grab it as soon as you can because you might not get that second chance.
I literally had 5 people today. Oh, the art mugs are gone. Yep, we've been looking at them all weekend. I only had 5.
Mm-hmm.
If you want one, grab it now.
Exactly, and it's because one of the things, and not to compare one show to the other, but I mean, at Spooky last year in October, a number of the vendors sold out very quickly.
Yep, nude
It's
buttons
not
also
uncommon.
sold out, folks.
Mm-hmm.
The experience was with Matthew Coke Bottle Lillard were probably very in short demand as well.
You know,
The end of the
Matthew
weekend.
would love the way that we're talking about him, you know? And can I just say, I really hope he comes back to Spooky because there was a photo of him I saw, and he did like the prom pose, but his back foot was kicked up. I'm like, this is the sweetest thing I've ever seen. Nicest fucking guy in the world.
Oh, he wasn't resting on his back foot.
No.
That was his tripod.
That's exactly.
Yeah, tripod. But it's really interesting. Everybody had wonderful stories about him, and he's that guy that and we talk about this all the time. He's someone that appreciates the fans so much. I'll never forget the first time I met him was at Spooky. I want to say 2018 at the Hyatt, and someone was trying to hurry him off to like a photo op, and he yelled at the handler like in front of all the fans. He's like, "I will not be rushed." You know, I was like, fuck yeah. So I'm glad that those of you got to meet him, you know, have your stories because he really is a genuine, super fucking nice guy.
He's one of my favorite Q&As because they had the moderator there to do the questions, and he was like, "No, we need to get through this." So he kind of grabbed the mic and took over the Q&A.
That's what he does. It's fucking beautiful.
It was great. I was like, "Oh my God, this is hysterical." And it was so perfect. He got through everybody's questions. If it was a yes or no, he'd say yes or no.
Next. Yeah. He's a professional. He's going to be like the next Robert Englund. He's a fucking professional, and it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. One of the things I was curious about, though, and I heard this from a couple people, the cosplayers that were there were a few that didn't want their photo taken, which is a bit confusing to me. If you're spending 2 hours, whatever, to get into something, go out to a place where there is a lot of people and then don't want your photo taken.
Yeah, it's definitely sends a mixed message. I will say it's very much become like a generational thing because MegaCon is now all set up with do not dare take pictures with somebody unless you have expressed written consent, unless they have granted you an audience with the queen of cosplay beforehand, unless you fisted Yaya Han. Do not take pictures of the cosplay.
Allegedly, she might have lawyers. Allegedly,
I don't know if that's going to be the case in Spooky. I've never had that to happen.
No, I've never had that at Spooky, but I do think it's starting to be a thing. Which
but I've never had somebody tell me no, that they don't want their picture taken after they've gone through all the work and the time and the money.
My fucking picture. I don't care if I'm pissing midstream. I will get up and take that photo for you.
Yes, and that's kind of what one of the other things that we like about Spooky is people watching, and for all the different costumes. With new people coming, we want to see your costumes, and we want to be able to take pictures. We'll ask nicely, like, "Hey, can I take a picture of you?" But I don't think I've ever had somebody tell me no. So.
Seriously, always
That's
take my picture.
weird.
I don't care if half my makeup's coming off my face. I don't give a shit. Take my fucking picture. I didn't do 3 hours of this shit for nothing. No, I'm sorry. I don't care if I've got a pizza hanging out of my mouth. Take my picture. I don't care. Take my fucking picture. Absolutely. But oh man, unfucking believable.
It's weird.
Oh, the chat is like super chatty. Oh, Fiona, that's okay. Fiona Durov. Apparently, a lot of people saying some like super nice things about her too, which is really cool to hear. Because I don't think she's done a good mention here before in Florida. I don't think so. Has she?
She looked like she was having a great time every time I walked over there.
That's really
just
good.
chit chatting with everybody and just straight up just having conversations.
I do love that. The Florida is getting people like that aren't just the. And I'm just gonna say it. All right, I know Kevin Smith did this show, and Rick, I love you, but we're okay. Kevin Smith apparently did an Ace Frehley where he had his own sectioned off area where you couldn't just see him. Apparently, and we call it the Ace Frehley because Ace Frehley did this at Spooky a while ago, where he was sectioned off from everybody else, and that basically meant you couldn't even look at him unless you immediately had the money. I'm not a big fan of that. Sometimes you just want to like go over and say hi. You don't necessarily have to buy an autograph, but of course you always should. But sometimes people just want to say hi. Kevin Smith apparently had the sectioned off area. So
It was funny because Muse was out front and he had his own little area and he set the tables up like that. He looked like he was having a good time, but he didn't look like he had fun taking pictures. But he was.
It's
I'm
Jay.
sure he was off of his meds or something because he was dancing around, just being a goofball. It was pretty funny.
Here's the thing with Kevin Smith, though. If you watched any of his speaking engagements, I forget what the fuck his things are called. He did like a trilogy of his speaking shit. I think we got DVDs around here. But he said that's how he's always been. That's why he he needed drugs just to mellow him the fuck out. Because and Rob, you remember like he did when Spooky had poker tournaments, which I personally would love to see come back. But when he was doing the poker tournament, like he couldn't sit still. He's like,
now, if you want to talk about somebody who was sober, there's nothing there.
Wow.
Well, part of that is because he was one of those guys who wore sunglasses the entire time, and I personally haven't.
Well, when he was sitting at his table, he had his sunglasses off, and every time he would sign something, it was just,
ooh,
and then kind of wandering around.
Got to make that drug money.
Yeah, it was sad to see because I remember watching Viva La Bam back in the day, and he was, but he was not there anymore. He's
oh wow, it's
kind of sad to see.
That is sad to see. I'm so sorry to hear that. I was hoping that he would be old Bam himself, but I suppose after what he's been through,
I mean, unless he's on some kind of like anti-drugs to mellow him out and not, which could be
possibly that's
for
quite
mental
possible.
And all that stuff. So he could just be mere drugged out the other way. So
okay, Kevin's Q&A was amazing. I tend to think because I've been a fan of Kevin's. For so long. I've been a fan of his since like when Clerks came out, literally. And I think he has got his Q&A down to a science, though. It's like where he's done so many speaking engagements, he always has to tweak a little bit here, but I think he's got it down to a well-oiled machine.
What he does that it kind of killed it for me once I recognized what he does at his panels.
Okay.
He has a handful of stories that he's going to talk about. And then what he does is he'll take a question and he'll find a way to turn it directed into that story that he already has prepared. Okay. Because you'll actually see if you've watched some of these, the long story he tells is almost always a tangent to a question that's been asked, but he finds a way just to weave it in, and then he does that, and then he'll take the next question, and again he weaves it into the new story.
That makes sense. I can see that, huh? Yeah, the not so silent Bob. Ain't that the fucking truth? Because he does. He'll take 20 minutes to answer a question. Absolutely. Bam didn't engage at all. That disappoints me. I am so sorry. That sucks. Nobody should have like a negative fan experience like that, especially with Bam, who's had such heavy fan support for so long. Yeah. But yeah, everything that we heard about, I've heard that they need more food vendors. Which is something we can talk about with Spooky. Not that we're comparing the two shows because I'm not. They might be. I'm not. I heard the food trucks were pretty good. But Tampa is usually, that whole area is like kind of, unless you really know the area, it's really tough to find good places to eat, especially in that area where they were. So
That's very true. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I've never really liked Tampa. When I was driving over there on a regular basis to go to shows or whatever, I thought I knew my way around, and then they just did a construction all over the place, and either stuff was shut down or I couldn't find it, and
oh god, the construction, that's right. Ugh.
it's so confusing
Construction that never ends
to
in
get
Tampa.
around. And I said, you know what, I when I moved to Orlando, I can find things, even though, I was like, okay, everything's laid out like a grid downtown, like it's supposed to be. And you know where stuff is, and you can easily find stuff. I can't find anything in Tampa. So,
yeah, that's, I'm hearing all sorts of interesting things about the foods. And we heard stories that, and I don't know the validity, but I heard allegedly, but with the vendors, they weren't allowed to sell food products in the convention. I'm not really sure what that was all about. I've never seen that with Spooky though, And yes, I just compared the two, but fuck you, whatever.
It was kind of funny because Spencer Stewart, who runs SharkCon and used that same building for that show, he's been trying to get food trucks to come out and stuff like that, and they've always told him no and all this stuff.
Okay.
They had food trucks out there, so he was like, I'm gonna have to have a chat with somebody. And we usually have to bring our own tables and chairs for the show. They actually had tables and chairs for this show. It's just so Spencer was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe they're changing shit, but I don't know.
And you know what? That very well could be Deej, going down and putting his foot down and saying, no, I'm going to have this here for my fans, which very well could be the case.
Or it could be just dropping a lot more cash because he does not seem to be scared to spend money. You can't get these guests without opening the purse strings. Kevin Smith is not a cheap date.
That's very true. That's very true.
That's
his own,
That's my prediction with this show is he
overspent.
The way it was set up. Well, not only that, but he had a ton of vendors, and I'm going to say 60% of those, probably maybe 40%, will not come back because of the last two shows not being so well. And that's where a lot of their money comes from to get guests and to put on the show, because we're paying $800 a table just to be there. And that's where a lot of the money comes from. So if they lose a good chunk of their vendors because of the poor performance of both those shows, he's not going to have a huge show anymore.
Wow. Today I learned. Yep. See, and you just got a little insight on what goes on. And this is why we're the fan perspective, because you're not going to hear this anywhere else. But, and then speaking of which, as far as the Hyatt, now we're talking about places to eat, and we always recommend the pub. It was funny. I don't remember the post now, but there was a social media post where Spooky chimed in and told people not to eat at the Beeline Diner.
Yeah, well, no, what they said was don't eat at the hotel.
Ah.
And okay, we're switching to the hotel talk, and we have some important things to share.
Yes, and if you have questions about the Hyatt or anything this year, by all means, leave them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer. Continue.
Yeah. Now, just first of all, we've actually made trips to the Hyatt before. In 2021, there's a video that we've posted. We actually posted one back in June that I'm going to pin back on the page, or at the very least link to it, so you can see the latest update on what's going on at the hotels. The Hyatt has actually been renovating all summer long.
Yeah,
when we were there in
June,
there
for Fanboy Expo.
Fanboy Expo in September, they were still renovating it. Like the lobby was like you could walk on the edge of it to go sign in somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I don't know just how much under construction they're going to be. Like the Rocks bar on the end was being remodeled. Everything's under renovation. So
it doesn't look like the Shining Bar anymore, which I'm kind of disappointed about.
But, yeah, that's the same. But
the bar's still there, so that's something.
Anyway, but somebody asked a question in the on Spooky's Facebook page saying, "Where do I eat? What's the hotel food like?" And even Spooky said, "Don't eat there." They used to have a place called the Beeline Diner. I think that's being renovated. The last time it was open, that food was the saltiest shit I've ever had in my life. It used to be a 24-hour thing. Then they cut the hours after COVID. And then it's like, here's our special seasoning that we're going to dump half a bottle in. and everything just had this awful seasoning taste. There's also like an Italian steakhouse.
Which, if you can
also,
afford the Italian steakhouse, then have at it.
yeah, if you can-
Fiorenzo tells you everything
so
you need.
really,
Yeah,
what
it's
it comes
really
down to
expensive.
is what it came down to is there's a cafe, like a cafe / market where you can get, you can order your coffee, you can get a sandwich that may or may not have been prepared, back when you were sperm. It's old stuff. So you can eat there, but we wanted to give you just some ideas of where you could eat.
Yeah,
You're
Where
gonna
we
walk
first
Friendlies.
where we've eaten. Yeah,
there may be a group friendlies trip at some point, because I know I like friendlies, but
Hell
friendlies
yeah.
is not close either. So that's
No.
And
Uber
with
XL
those
trip.
restaurants, that area doesn't have a lot within a walking distance.
well,
So-
okay. So here's what I'll say:
Uber
if
Eats.
you can go about 2 blocks south of the Hyatt, and it's 2 full blocks from where the actual hotels are, that's where the cheaper meals are. There is a McDonald's, there is an International House of Panqueques,
yeah.
there is a Denny's. There is also a Red Lobster, if that's your thing. If you're a pervert. And
Biscuits.
Cheddar biscuits, man. Come on.
The biscuits.
you know what? You can get the cheddar biscuit mix at your local Piggly Wiggly.
Is that even
Who
a
the
thing?
fuck is a Piggly Wiggly near them anymore?
Okay, how about your local Publix?
Fucking Piggly Wiggly. The fuck you live in Miami? Anyway.
Okay, so yeah, those are the cheaper places to go that are all just south. And again, you're going to walk a little bit, but walk down there.
Or you can
relax.
Uber,
Also, I will say this: they
You can
do
Uber.
have the iDrive premium prices, unfortunately.
And actually, that does bring up a good question, though. And I admittedly don't know a lot about it. There is an iDrive trolley that has been suggested before. I don't know about the schedule. I don't know where to find out more information. But there is an iDrive trolley if you want to do that, because I know that was suggested. If you're coming down for the day, if you want to, where the pub is in this area called Point Orlando, where there's a bunch of restaurants and such, you can park there. It's cheaper than a lot of other places, but it's not within walking distance. Arguably,
It is.
it's arguable, but I mean, you can actually take the iDrive trolley.
Yeah, let me
from
say
your
this.
parking. Yeah, go ahead.
When we were at Fanboy Expo, we parked at the Point Orlando, and it's actually only about a block, like from where the convention is at the far end. It's actually only another block further than where the parking garage in the Hyatt is, because the Hyatt's parking garage and the convention facilities, the literal opposite ends of the property.
That's true.
So if you're just going for a day or you're not staying, Point Orlando is actually pretty reasonable as far as their prices for the parking.
That's true.
But
For parking,
also,
yeah.
but also at Point Orlando, that's where the pub is. And again, that's kind of my number one recommendation to eat. If it's not ridiculously far.
And there are a bunch of chain restaurants in that area. So,
But
Yeah,
also the
there's-
great thing is too, if you don't want to leave the hotel, Uber Eats, there's tons of restaurants right down the road.
yeah, it's
So
international.
you're going to pay a
drive,
little more for it.
Central.
So, but you can get Uber Eats delivered and just meet them out in the little rotunda
The lobby,
area,
yeah.
and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So there's
And-
tons of restaurants.
And please tip your Uber Eats drivers very well.
Please, some of us do
20%
that.
or more.
What's up,
If
Mo?
I find out someone's not tipping their drivers, I'll cut you.
They'll
Just
come
saying,
at you.
I will.
But yeah, the IHOP, people talking about the pedicabs. I don't think the pedicabs exist anymore, especially since there's Lyft and Uber now. I don't think the pedicabs actually exist anymore in downtown.
think
Those
they're
were
still
fun
there.
once upon a time. But I think like COVID kind of got rid of them all, I think.
I haven't seen a pedicab in downtown in years.
Yeah.
On iDrive.
I drive.
The last place I was going to recommend, because there's higher end or not, it's not higher end dining, it's mid-level dining that you find all up and down. It's you're nicer than Chili's places, but not actually nice. There's a couple others in Point Orlando, but on the other side of International Drive across from is a Pizza Hut.
A dine-in Pizza Hut.
I think it's still dine-in.
Okay. And
So-
Robin just said the trolley has a stop in front of the hotel, but it is not free. Today I learned. All right. If you look up Orlando International Drive trolley, that'll give you all the information right there.
Now, has
And,
anybody confirmed or denied the pizza scams that happen on iDrive all the time?
Oh, they do happen.
Yeah, this is fascinating if you're not familiar with it.
And
The hotels
just
are
a
much
second.
better.
Hold on, just a second. Mo is in the chat. I just want to say hi because
Oh,
yeah, I'm assuming you guys discussed the diner as well. Mo, if you've got something different to say about the diner that we've already said, the diner is not what it used to be.
I don't
It's
think
not nearly as good as it was.
To be honest, I don't even think the diner's there anymore. I think they closed
I
it off.
saw it's being renovated, so I don't know if something else is going in, something's
Yeah.
going on, but yeah.
What's
All
the
right.
pizza scam?
Pizza scam, yes.
yeah. It was more common at the Wyndham. I don't recall it happening at the Hyatt, but basically,
Probably 'cause
if
it's
you're
harder
on
to get
Mo,
to the
come on the show.
if you're on any hotel on iDrive, you may sometimes get a flyer under your door for a pizza place. If you look at it, it will be like a name you've never heard of. It's not a chain. But if you look at it a little bit more, you'll also notice there's not an address on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason there's not an address on it. It's because somebody's making pizza in their bathtub. And then cooking it. They're
Or
either
getting a cheap
best
one
DiGiorno.
from Wawa.
best
Yeah.
case scenario, you're getting a DiGiorno pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, you're probably getting the Walmart dollar pizza, or you might someone might just be making pizza in their own kitchen. And anyway, they run commercials in the hotels saying don't.
Yeah.
Like if you turn on the TV, they'll say do not order from these places.
And unfortunately, you are going to run into these scams because if you look on the Spooky page, every time Spooky makes an announcement of any kind, it's like chumming shark waters. Boom, they all come out, all the scammers, because, you won our giveaway, and we see it every single time. And Spooky is constantly playing whack-a-mole with these guys. The porno. Nice. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I also, and just to touch on something that Angie reminded me of, whether it's Uber Eats or you're ordering pizza, keep an eye out for Tom Savini. He has a reputation. He has a reputation.
Here we go.
We're
going to have to get him to sign a pizza box. You know that,
He
right?
might inadvertently borrow your pizza. Okay.
He's
Not
signing
saying
a
he's
pizza
gonna
box this
steal
time
it.
around. I'm telling him the story. I'm
He's
telling
gonna
him the story.
acquire
this
it.
time around.
So just saying.
But yeah, unfortunately, like there are scams aplenty all across the board, and we see them on the Spooky webpage every single day. If it does not come from spookyempire.com, then it's bullshit. And if you have any doubts whatsoever, always
Don't.
just email Spooky and they'll always tell you.
Especially tickets, because when they announced VIP was selling out or this and that was selling out, you'll instantly get it's like, oh, I can't go now. Do you want to buy my tickets and PM me and etc. It's like, no, that's automatic.
Well, here's and Rob
shady.
knows
It's very shady.
Yeah, Rob knows about this a lot. How can someone tell the difference between something legit and something that someone who is a scammer?
Spelling.
Well, that's part of it, but I mean, what Rob, he's always said because he's worked kind of in that business. Hey, no, special guest,
everybody.
Hey,
Yes.
you guys hear
For those
me
of you
okay?
that don't know, shush. For those of you that don't know, Mo is not only a former co-host, but he has actually been a staffer at Spooky many, many times. If Mo don't know it, nobody does.
Okay.
Straight up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
All right. But we're going to get your opinion in just a second. I just want Rob to go into how to be able to tell if a post online is from a scammer or not.
Okay, so at the risk of being xenophobic, look at the person's profile. Are they from the United States? If they're not from the US, it's a reasonably good chance they don't in fact have a ticket and they are not planning to come to Spooky Empire. You can sometimes and I will say this, it's actually getting harder and harder to tell because they are making much better fake accounts now that have built-in history that will actually go back for several years. But you'll notice there's not a lot of interaction on any posts that they might have. Normally if I change my profile picture, I'll get a handful of people who click likes, just to acknowledge, hey, I saw your new picture, and you don't look like a piece of shit anymore. Thumbs up. These people won't have any interaction on their posts. There might be a tremendous amount of spelling errors. Just general rule, if anyone's offering anything on the spooky social media pages, there should be the email. Molly just mentioned the email. That's always a good giveaway. Definitely don't buy your tickets off these people. Check with Gina and Petey or anyone on the official Spooky Empire pages.
But unfortunately, it happens every single show, and because they're getting smarter, people are still getting scammed. So
yeah. So I mean, that's basically all I can tell you is just don't talk to strangers. Ask somebody. Most spooky people know at least one other spooky person. If you don't have anyone in common with this person, there may be something funky going on.
That's actually a really good point there. I like that. Well, it's like the thing that I want to ask Mo more than anything else is like, because he's done spooky so much, because we were talking about places to eat when he came in, and he's like, "Oh, did you mention this? Did you mention this?" So Mo, what is your guide to someone who's doing spooky for the first time?
Okay. I love it that you guys asked me the food questions. You asked the fat guy.
Of course. Well, hey, I'm catching up to you. Okay, our boots are almost eyes now.
There is lots of options. I'm sure you guys kind of went through all of it. Sorry, I was on another video call earlier, and I wanted to catch you guys earlier, but thanks for inviting me.
Always, you're always welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, there's like lots of options, and I did not hear anything about the diner closing down. But I'm sure we'll find out when we actually get there.
The beard is majestic. Can we just take a second just to admire Mo's beard?
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
Look at Matt's. I mean, come on. I mean, I can't.
We've seen his scraggly shit before. No, you got like fullness and.
Wow.
I love you, Matt. You know that.
Just because my hair's blonde doesn't mean it's scraggly, bitch.
But some other options like that are off the beaten path that people that might not know is behind the actual hotel. There's Universal Boulevard, and behind that, which is kind of like off the beaten path of where International Drive is, and everybody's going to know International Drive. That's probably the way they're going to come in to the hotel. But actually, behind the hotel, which is the route, I use that. Yeah, it's a secret path. Yeah. It's not really that secret.
Not anymore. It's not.
There's an actual Publix there. There's a Publix. There's it's usually the back way where you can actually get into the Wyndham as well. You can actually get in through that way as well.
It's right before you hit the convention center.
Yeah.
So if you want to go in the back door, folks, we can give you.
If you want to go in the back door? Hey, I'm just saying. Anyway,
$20 is $20, man.
But along that route is a little underdeveloped, but there are a few things there. I mean, they do have, a gas station. It's the Wawa there as well, in one direction. But in the other direction, there's also Publix and a shopping center. And there's a pizza place. There's a little cupcake store as well. I've had to bring people cupcakes because they had birthdays and stuff for some of the guests that come in. But there's actual little places there. And I also recommend the Publix for people too. If you're kind of on a budget or anything, or you kind of wanted to put, food in your room, which is what I'm planning on doing. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah. Because we want money for autographs and stuff. So I'm in Robin the whole weekend.
If I can make just a point though, if you plan on doing your Publix run, do it Thursday night, do it Friday morning. This is going to be a packed fucking year. Parking will be a premium this year. So if you go out Saturday morning, there's a decent chance your parking spot in the parking garage will not be there when you get back.
Yeah. And getting lost in there, this is kind of admitting, I can't believe I'm admitting this. I've lost the cars before.
Wow.
In the parking garage. I've taken like 20 minutes to actually like, oh, did I put it on fourth floor? No. And I keep on clicking the button. I'm like, beep. beep. Like,
That's because
motherfucker.
we're old. We're old, and this is what fucking after 40, it's all fucking downhill. We can't remember what we had for breakfast,
all
let
the
alone when we
levels.
parked the car.
All the levels. I started to freak out like really, really hard one year in that particular garage. But they're kind of like this. So
Yeah.
it's like trying to find where your car is really hard. So always remember, there's like 6 floors, I think, to that particular one.
Although for that,
Hey, you
I
could do
will
like the
say-
villages and just put a loofah on your car. Nobody
That's
will
true,
think of you differently.
and then you'll have another couple special guests when you get back to your car.
There you
But,
go. Yeah.
It's
but
a
I
field
know
party
At
at
the very
the
least, you're
hotel.
gonna have a few, pieces of paper with a phone number on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you
There
make
you
some
go.
new friends. You make some new friends. But no, one of the things that I do recommend, and I've done this because especially parking at theme parks, I always forget where I park to. There is an app called Find My Car, where basically where you park, it drops a pin in it. So when you come back, you just follow where it tells
And
you
it
to
asks
go.
you what level you're on too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so there is an app for everything now. So you're doing that, Find My Car. All right. So as far as is Kim in the chat? I saw Kim. Did I see Kim in the chat?
She said, no.
No? All right. Well, people are saying hi to Kim. So anyway, hi Kim, if you're there. But all right. For someone who has never been to a horror convention before, what do you think they need to know more than anything else? Mo, our special guest there.
Okay.
Let me put it this way. If you've got one tip to give to somebody, whether they're coming to Spooky or really even any show, but I mean particularly Spooky, let's just keep it relevant.
Mhm.
What would you just say? It's like, hey, just keep this idea in your back pocket at all times.
You can't do everything. So just go with the flow. Take a look at some of the events that they're going to have, like, pre-plan. I know I believe they've got the zombie walk going on. Just if you're going to do that, and then you're like, oh shit, I want to do this and I want to do that. Just remember, you're only one person, and there's a lot of stuff to do. So, and find a buddy. So find somebody who's been there before. That's always a good.
Well, except not me. No, I don't want to talk to any of you.
I don't think you're looking for any new friends, but
If anyone wants to play Call of Cthulhu, you can be my friend.
Ooh,
Which,
I
there
do.
we go.
I
Okay,
do.
I'm bringing it, Mo. There's a game room
We
this
need
year.
to make a love connection here. There needs to be a love connection and Lovecraft connection. You see what I did there?
Yeah, that's it.
Lovecraft connection.
See what you did there.
Nice.
Sometimes
Yeah, for the
I have
record,
friends
I am going to put together a game if anyone is interested in that. I know not everyone here is a tabletop gamer, but I will.
What day are you doing it?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I'm throwing out the interest just to see if anyone's interested. And if somebody is, then I'll make a day and I'll just do it. I have got a quick campaign, 3 hours, in and out.
Yeah,
Let's
don't forget
talk
the people-
offline.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Don't forget the people working or volunteers. Actually, that's a good one, especially for you, Mo.
Yeah,
The
they're
people, yeah.
people working there are volunteers, and they've got a they've got a really good core volunteer program. It's one of the best I've ever seen in any convention ever. And the way they train it, and I've seen a lot. They've got a lot, and the way they train them, and the way that kind of Dina kind of set that up back in the day. She put in a core. No, but yeah, she set up a really, really good program, and it's kind of spilled over into now, and it's one of the best ones I've ever seen or ever worked with since forever. So and that's talking big, and I've been to a lot of conventions. Worked for MegaCon, I've worked for Tampa Bay Comic Con, Pensacon,
DragonCon.
a lot of different things. DragonCon, they've got a good one too, but yeah, yeah, they do actually. But yeah, Spooky is definitely one of the best. But yeah, I mean, just remember you're only one person. You can't do everything. That's one of the tips. There's lots of
treating the volunteers with kindness.
Treat the volunteers with kindness. Absolutely. I mean, that's just normal human shit. Don't be a dick.
You would think so, but unfortunately, it's something we have to say every year because we always hear a story about some jackass dressed as Deadpool that's giving like the volunteers a hard time, you know?
Well, now it's going to be Barbie. Just FYI, I've seen this firsthand.
Oh yeah, no,
Uh,
A
Hi,
Barbie
Barbie.
Karen. Nice. A
Hi,
Barbie
Barbie.
Karen.
Hi, Barbie.
we talked to Dragon Con friends, and they even said like, yeah, we're doing Barbie again next year. It's like they're planning Barbie for 2024. So it's
Okay. Cash
Okay.
is king. Bring cash. That's always important. So yeah, so y'all, if you're in the chats, read the other comments because these are vets and these tips, while they may sound common sense, this is shit you're gonna forget.
folks, consider the dealer's room like riding shotgun in a car. Ass,
Oh, fuck
grass,
yeah.
or cash. You got to pay with something.
It's true. And
Not
some of them may
Bitcoin.
accept the grass. Just you don't know. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well,
Yeah.
Tony Todd's not there anymore, so I think the number. Well,
I'm sure he's the only one, right?
let's just say he'd be the easiest to pay with that. That's
Well, one of the things that I said, I talked about Sked, SCHED, which is the app that for scheduling. I already see, and I don't know if you guys see it, but Spooky Empire is actually on there already for this year. So the schedule, so already download Sked, and you can look up. They already have their schedule on there, so you pre-con meetup, so on and so forth. So let me do that. There we go. But yeah, SCHED, like schedule, Sked. I don't know how to fucking pronounce it, but the schedule's already on there, so you can actually mark what stuff you want to do, and so you can actually organize. Everything's on your phone, nice and easy. That's really good. All right, so what else did we have, Rob? Because I actually don't have my notes in front of me.
No, that's pretty much we've wrapped it up. I'm gonna post our videos from Fanboy Expo.
Yes.
And it's a 30-minute video. You can probably even skip the first 10 minutes.
Sure. It's just us walking through, and it gives you an accurate time of how long it takes to get from the parking garage to the convention center, etc.
Yeah. It'll put things in perspective if it's your first year.
And especially if it's your first year, this is something I just remembered, and I know Mo, it's perfect that Mo's here for this. When it comes to the celebrities, okay, let's settle in, guys. When it comes to the celebrities, number one, let's remember celebrities are people too. I already say it, Mo. Yep. Celebrities are people too. They are not there for your particular entertainment. They are prone to good and bad moods, just like everybody else. So don't automatically assume that they're a dickhead just because they didn't suck your dick, you know? And this is something I can go to on the next webcast, but because I've become very good at this over the years, a matter of what to ask them at the table as opposed to what to ask at a panel. One of the things that we say with the panel is keep your questions short. And if it's something you can find out on YouTube previously, go to YouTube and ask that. You know, let's keep the questions to something more interesting they can actually tell the audience there about that they really haven't talked to death. Yes. Eric, yes. But see, with Eric, the dick sucking is always in contention. It's always on the table. So good time to go on Saturday morning. Yes. Or here we go. Mo?
Yeah. I was just gonna
as possible.
I was gonna say, yeah. You remember there's like probably hundreds of people probably behind you if you're in an autograph line. So it's the things that you would want to ask like in a panel would be much different than what you'd want to ask at their table.
Mo, I would love to have you back for that topic actually.
Yeah. I mean, I understand you're paying for an experience. I totally get that. And
Yes.
I totally get that you get Star Trek. I mean, I still get Star Trek sometimes, not as much, but I mean, I still get it all the time. Sometimes I'm actually excited for a lot of the guests that are coming in. I'm a Star Trek fan, so Andrew Robinson coming in, Garrick. I'm really, really excited for him coming in. So, but anyway, keep those. I understand. Just keep it under a minute. Really. I mean, I know you're paying for experience. You're getting an autograph, which is a really, really cool thing. But if you want to, don't ask about their life story if you're at the table. That you don't do that. And
which is why you should always find out if it's something you can find out online beforehand. Do that.
Yeah. Or if you're going to get a photo, that is not a time
Not
for
at the
asking
panel.
a question. Not, you
No
know,
hugs, no photos, none of
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit.
Well, no, yeah, but when you're actually going and you actually purchase a photograph
Yes.
and whatnot, you're purchasing a photograph. You're not purchasing 30 seconds to talk to the person.
That's
You
that's
know,
a good
it's come
that's a
in,
weak
it's
one.
come in, take your picture, and that's it. Come in,
So,
take your
yeah.
picture, and that's it. That's
Everything else is at the table. Yeah.
everything. It would be either at the table, which you get a little bit of leeway with it, or at the panel, or anything like that.
There is a
Remember-
difference. We can definitely go into that on the
And
next
also
episode.
remember, I mean, a lot of these people are still working actors, and they're members of SAG-AFTRA. There's a lot of questions that they probably can't or won't answer, and don't be discouraged about that. Don't be discouraged about that. And they'll tell. Yeah, they will. They will. And they're super
Yeah,
nice
I
about
can
it.
talk about X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Sometimes they'll say that you can't. They may do it. I don't know exactly how the formatting will be. I'm sorry. I know you're cut for time. You were.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Close it up, but yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, a lot of them are contractually cannot talk about certain things, cannot talk about projects. So just kind of remember that, and don't think that they're being a dick. It's just that's what things are. It's part of it right now. That's the world we live in right now. They're in the middle of a strike, and you just have to respect that.
It's not about you and your feelings.
More than likely, they won't be answering anything about current or future projects. They might be able to talk about past stuff, kind of.
So yeah, and they might not even not even do that. I was at Dragon Con and I went to a panel for some Star Trek characters, Strange New Worlds. And you know what we talked about? What will you would buy at Costco? What's your dream list at Costco?
My go-to question is what are the ingredients of your sandwich? If you had to build a sandwich that was that's great shit because you can tell a lot about somebody about what they would put on the sandwich.
Yeah. That's the stuff that we had to. That's the stuff that we had to talk about. So just kind of be conducive. Think about that. I know the writer's strike is over, but SAG-AFTRA is still, going on.
There's still shit going on, man.
Yeah.
But no, Mo, we absolutely want to have you back to talk about this very thing. But to close out, as Molly Zombie did ask, what time should people get there on Saturday? If you're going for a one day, what's the best thing for someone that's doing 1 day?
5
as early as
a.m.
possible. As early as possible.
Yeah, and seriously,
the line alone is going to be stupid.
Yeah.
By 10 o'clock, there will be a line out the door for tickets.
I tell you right now, people are going to camp out if they're only going for Saturdays.
Probably.
I'm telling you
I've seen
right
it
now.
happen before. We all remember Funko Gate.
Yeah, just remember the Caribe Royale and the lines and the sleeping outside.
Wait,
Not
real
just
quick,
for a Funko,
we have an
but
official suggestion from the Spooky Camp about what time to get there on Saturday.
early.
Early.
Early. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah. As early as possible. Absolutely. Yeah, 5 a.m. Dude, if that to get you in that line so you're the first one in the door and you don't have to wait. And yeah, absolutely. Because
The line's going to be
even
absolutely
no matter
ridiculous
what
on
line you're
Saturday.
going to get in, even if you're first in to get into Spooky, there are already going to be lines for other celebrities there. Keep that in mind. It's
There
not
will
you're
be.
gonna
Here's
walk
my
in
suggestion.
England. Yeah.
Get out there, 5 a.m., do a bump, just wait, and that'll keep you
That's
going
right.
until
Red
till later.
Bulls. Just start, double fisting Red Bulls.
I don't recommend that, but okay.
Don't act like you haven't done that sort of thing before. Just
Fact-
double fisting, but anyway.
Oh, double fisting? Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
Okay.
we're definitely gonna have go back for this. Absolutely. Got a photo of Robert. Fantastic. That's gonna be a really fun time just to go get your picture. Then you go to his table. You can talk to him at the table, like Mo said.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're lucky. That's a whole other thing. But that's gonna lead off our next episode, actually, next Saturday, whatever.
Next
day.
Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah.
Monday.
That's
Two
it.
Sundays.
Too soon. Anyway,
I think
we will,
next Sunday.
we'll
we'll
follow
discuss
the page. The next show, we will probably do one either the Sunday or the Monday before Spooky.
Yes, we're doing a couple, at least one more before the show.
Yeah. So, all right. On that note, don't do bumps, kids. Don't do drugs.
Allegedly.
Don't smuggle things
Alone.
in any cavities.
Alone.
Yeah, alone. That's important. So, folks, we ran a little bit long, so we're going to cut the game tonight.
Gotta
Message
make good
me.
time.
I'm so sorry, guys. I apologize.
No, Mo.
No,
You were
no,
long,
hell no.
well
Not your
before
fault,
you came,
no.
man.
If it wasn't for the host here doing this, we'd talk for another hour.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. On that note, guys, thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, we love you. very much. And
yeah, let me hold on. Let me hit
Oh, yeah.
let me hit the music.
Mr. I got to make.
We're still on. Yay. Okay, bye. Seriously. I clicked the button
What the
now.
fuck?